It's me, it's OWP. Welcome back to the O Wrestling Podcast. I'm your host, CW. Thank you so much for listening. Make sure to hit that bell on YouTube and subscribe to the podcast on your favorite podcasting app. Welcome back, y'all. It's time. It's time for our very first Thursday night throwdown, or Thursday throwdown. I don't know what we're calling it, but it's on Thursday, and we're doing something that's not the 5 count. So we'll call it whatever we want. These episodes are going to explore professional wrestling and pop culture, whether that be video games or comic books or logos or color schemes or toys or what have you. Anything I can think of that professional wrestling influences, and in a fun way. Let's say that. Today's fun way is a tier list. Might not be the most unique or original thing, but it's something we've never done, and it's the first time for everything. So our tier list is inspired by the fantastic WWE tag team titles that were announced on SmackDown. Our tier list is a list of WWE championships, and we're gonna rank them. Let's dive right in. Let's dive right in so you can see what I'm talking about. There's the tier list, y'all. There it is. Your favorite thing. Everyone loves a good tier list. So we've got S tier, which is the tippy top, the best looking, aesthetically pleasing, best title you can have. Then we go straight down to F. A, B, C, D, and then we hit that F tier where it stinks. And there's one or two in there that's going to land in F tier. I kind of took a look at the list to just kind of familiarize myself with the entries on there. Some of them I've never seen before, and I'm not going to look those up. And others, I am very well acquainted. So let's get right in. We're going to start from the tippy top of the list and then work our way down. First entry is the Women's Tag Team Championships, the Women's Tag Team Championships in WWE. They're not bad looking. I would say they're not booked great. Currently, the Kabuki Warriors are tag team champs. They have not defended their titles in quite a bit. They didn't get to defend it at WrestleMania, and they took an L to Jade Cargill, Bianca Belair, and Naomi. So, as usual, the Women's Tag Team Championships are a little bit on the rocks in WWE, but in terms of aesthetically pleasing titles and titles that I wouldn't mind carrying around, the Women's Tag Team Championships are pretty high on the list. I wouldn't say they are tippy top, but let's call it B tier, right? Let's call it B tier. I like B's. The North American Championship. I've had a weird back and forth with this title. It's not bad. Actually, it's not bad. It's quite nice. The reason I think it's nice is because it looks different than every other title. It has a very earthy feel to it, the big brown belt. It has very nice contrast, the gold and the black and the brown. It all works really well together. But there's something about it's super subdued, right? It doesn't pop a lot. The gold in it pops quite a bit, but the back, I don't know. As I'm saying it out loud, I'm realizing that I like it. Like, it does pop. The gold on the brown works. I'm turning myself around mid-conversation. You know what? Let's do the tier. We're going to hit it in B tier for now. It's a good belt, good title. Looks good on people. Looks bad on Dominic. But all around good belt. The 205 Live, the purple belt. Well, I never did watch 205 Live. It just wasn't my cup of tea, even though some of the best professional wrestling happened on there. That's when Mustafa Ali was on there. That's Pac, what are they called? Neville, Tony Nese. Tons of incredible talent were out there wrestling their ass off, trying to make a name for themselves on 205 Live. And they had the big purple belt. And it's not great. It's not a great title. And I'm going to probably say this a couple times on this list that I'm looking down at the list. The reason I don't find it all that appealing is that it looks like a second place title or even a toy, right? The purple belt does look like a toy. It's not awful, but it looks like something I would give my son to play with. And you don't want to have a big strapping wrestler holding a toy, do you? No. Here is an old school world title. I've never seen this title before. One of the few that I've never seen a ton of titles, but this one I don't know anything about. But if I'm going to just grade it on a scale of aesthetically pleasing, it's not bad. It's not bad. It's not great. But if you compare it to older titles, newer titles, it doesn't really stack up. But if you strap that title onto some big fella in like the 60s or something, it works. I'll put it in C tier. And of course, these are all just opinions. They're just opinions, guys. Who am I to say it's not the best title in the world? I don't know anything. Next up, another belt I've never seen before. I couldn't even tell you what this belt is for. I'm assuming it's a world championship title. If you know what this belt is, please tell me in the comments. I do not know. I didn't look it up. I tried, but it's hard to Google like a blue and gold and teal WWE title. Well, that's fairly easy to look up, but it doesn't make for an interesting video if I just know all of it. You know, hey, casual wrestling dad. I just watch this as my kids go to sleep, you know? So you only have so much time. Never seen this title. Don't like it. Kind of glad I've never seen it before. We're going to drop it in D. Doesn't deserve F. We're going to drop it in D. This title, I can't really even tell what it is. It's like an eagle in the middle. I thought it was the Brahma Bull title, but that's further up the line. So again, another title. I have no idea what it is. Looks okay, but it doesn't look better than anything on that list. So we're going to drop it in D. Another big silver world championship title. World heavyweight wrestling champion. I love the long titles of some of these belts where they stick, you know, world heavyweight wrestling championship. You got to be very specific about the championship you are holding. This big silver belt is going to go in C tier because there's nothing particularly interesting about it, and it feels like someone like formed some tin on a weekend and kind of put it together. If this is one of your favorite championships, please let me know in the comments why and who held it that made you love it so much. I'd really love to hear. More silver belts. This one is not awful. I'm going to put it in B tier. These pictures are incredibly small. Incredibly small. I don't know anything really about this title. It's one of the WWF titles. Sorry for that ASMR hoodie sweep. Same for this one. I've seen this one on and off. I wouldn't call it B tier actually. It's okay. Can't remember where I saw it, nor do I have any affiliation to it. We're getting to the ones that I do know, so bear with me. I think I've seen this one. I think that was from the 80s. Again, not sure. I'm getting up there in age, and my memory is not all that it's cracked up to be. But we're gonna drop it in C tier. You're gonna see a pattern. If I don't know what it is, and I kind of don't like it all that much, we're just gonna drop it in C tier because F tier is for the straight garbage. I don't want to disrespect the titles I don't know, but I can't put them super high on the list. I feel like C tier is a good place. D tier is more like we can't even see ourselves holding it. You know, I couldn't buy a replica of it, right? I could buy a replica of this current one here. We're getting into the good stuff, guys. That's a pretty title, guys. That's a pretty title. I do love the black and gold right there. It's good. It's good. I'm telling you, man, these pictures are so tiny. It's so hard to read. I'm going to drop that there. All right, now we're into the stuff that I came up on. The themed belts. There was a time in WWE's Attitude Era where Stone Cold ruled the roost. Stone Cold and The Rock, their feud, anything they did drew money. And because of that, whenever Stone Cold or The Rock won the title, they saw fit to change the entire title to reflect their gimmick. Stone Cold had the Smoking Skull belt, and it was fire. That belt was great. His glass would shatter. That man would strut out with that Smoking Skull belt. Incredible. Everybody wanted it. Stone Cold could do no wrong for like a good 4 to 5 years. The man was on fire, couldn't miss. And this title is one of those that didn't miss. It's going right up there in A tier. This WWE Championship is the one that I've seen the most. We're dropping it up there in A. The Brahma Bull Championship. Now, I just gave a big long speech about Stone Cold's whole title run and how incredible it was, and he got his title and it was great. And then they did it for The Rock, and I gotta say, it didn't hit the same. The Rock's title with the Brahma Bull was fine, but it just didn't have the same flair as Stone Cold's, you know? Still an incredible title, gimmick title, but not the best. This WWE Championship, another classic, going right up there in A tier. It's beautiful, beautiful title. Now we're getting into some personal slings. I'm gonna throw a knife. I'm gonna throw a dagger. This John Cena spinner belt is one of the worst things I've ever seen. You want to talk about a toy that nobody wanted? Not nobody. I didn't want. When John Cena unveiled the title, I was vaguely interested in it. I was like, oh, that's interesting. It moves, you know, that's cool. He had the spinner. It matched his gimmick. It fell in line with the whole Stone Cold had his own belt. Rock had his own belt. Of course, John Cena's going to have his own belt. He was the face of the company at the time. But then he lost the title. And then every next person had this spinner belt, and it was just weird. And then one day, it stopped spinning. Then it was just this incredibly tacky belt that people just wanted to walk around. It was the ugliest title. I'm sorry. I know there are a ton of people out there who grew up with the John Cena spinner belt and they love it to death. I gotta say, man, in terms of like a prestigious title that you can hold, that's not it. You know what really put me off on that title? Sometimes they would be holding the title and the WWE symbol in the middle would just swing downward. So it would just be upside down. And that's just not good branding. Your logo is upside down on your belt. Everything just looks wrong when you hold it. That belt is F. Bad. And the worst part about it is that it influenced belts afterwards. So this rated R superstar where it has like an inset edge logo is an improvement because it didn't have the big sparkly WWE in the middle, but it was still ugly, still gaudy. They had this weird design, like it was this tiered, layered design on the belt that just didn't work. I'm not saying tiered belts can't work. Those did not. It wasn't it. Didn't hit. This, I believe it was the WWE Championship. These three. It was the Universal Championship, the World Championship, and this one was the first one they debuted, I think, out of with the big championship word on it. That was back in 2020 or something? I can't remember exactly. I think that's the one that Big E had. I think. My mind is scrambled. It's late, if I'm being perfectly honest. But they were, or are, okay. B seems like a good place to put it. That particular one. Those two kind of fit in that B tier. I never particularly liked the licorice belt, the all red belt or the all blue belt. They felt too gimmicky, and I didn't like the fact that they branded the belt so that it had to be on a specific show, which made things like the WWE draft very murky, where you would have a champ with a red belt go to SmackDown, and then they would have to swap the belt for a blue version of the belt. That's so dirty. It's weird. It's just, then what do you do with the red belt? You send it over to Raw? No, because that champion remains on Smack. It's just a whole thing. So when they started color coding belts, I was not for it. Also, color coding things is a murky road because there's only so many colors you can do for things, and it's just, that's a whole other separate design conversation that we could have. This belt is ugly as hell, and I love it. The $1 Million Man belt is one of the worst titles of all time. It's ugly. It's just a bunch of dollar signs. It's not really well put together. It was kind of small, and it's A tier because nostalgia wins. This is the women's world title. The women's world titles, in my opinion, were always better than the men's. The white leather that they had on the belt was leaps and bounds better than anything the men's titles had going. Every time the women's title comes out, I'm like, they have the better version. That clean white title, pristine. And from what I hear, there are different versions of the belt. So there's like the TV version of the belt that's clean, and they can take it out on camera and it glistens and it shines and the leather is good. And then there's the one that the wrestler travels with, which is more beat up because it goes through luggage and stuff. When you see like the pristine TV version, you're like, man, that belt is incredible. Rhea Ripley's titles, every time Rhea Ripley had a title, it was incredible. It was the white title. Those things are fantastic. Okay, now we're getting into some more hot garbage. These tag titles, the copper, was it the penny titles? I'm sorry. I don't know who designed these tag team titles. We've had to endure these titles for the past, 8 years, 9 years, 12 years. I don't know what it is. It's been a very, very long time. I believe one of the people I remember holding these titles was Kofi Kingston and Evan Bourne. How long ago that was? A very long time ago. The copper penny titles, they weren't hitting, and it's a trend with some of these titles where they don't feel like championship belts because there's no gold in it. There needs to be gold in the title. When you have a silver belt like this purple belt, or one of these two, or even this one, silver is second place. Gold is first place. If you make your title silver, it just registers it as a lesser than title to a title that's covered in gold. Just the way we view things, I think. Like, I don't know, unless it's like platinum, and that's hard to pull off on a title, you're not going to get a very good reaction. And this one was friggin' like bronze. It was copper. It was a penny. The least, the smallest denomination of currency here in the U.S. A penny. And you make that your title. It's not visually appealing for a championship title to be copper. Just put that out there. It doesn't work like that. So it goes in F tier because it just doesn't work as a championship title. if the tag team is supposed to be the greatest duo in the company, give them some gold. Hence why the new WWE tag titles are so incredible. This is, I believe, a hardcore title. I don't know what universe it's from. I've never seen one with the New York license plate slapped on it. It's definitely not A tier. I'm going to put it at C because there's a better hardcore title coming up later. So there's that. This is the 1982 title, heavyweight title. It's that big giant green belt. I don't know if it was used very often. I don't even remember who had it, but it's not a terrible belt. It's actually, that green is hard to get by, but if you like a green title, it's not bad, and it's huge. It's a very big belt with crazy amount of plates on it. I feel like if that leather was black, it would pop. You know what? Not even black. Some other color than green. WWE has a terrible track record with green colored titles. You'll see it the rest of the way. Another world, I believe this is a tag title. Give me 1 second. Was it an IC title? I honestly can't tell from here, and my memory of it is not great, but I like the belt. It looks like a 90s belt. It looks very much like a late 90s, early 2000s belt. This looks like something that a Hardy Boy would carry, and I'm here for it. We're going to put it at C tier for now. This is the King of the Ring title. I don't think this was ever used because I don't remember anyone ever carrying a King of the Ring belt. They always slap a crown on their head, which they should get rid of that idea too. It looks really good. I looked this one up before I started recording, and it looks good. It's a good looking belt, and they should have given that one out instead of the crown. I'm just saying, if there was any sort of consistency with King of the Ring, if they had to defend their own King of the Ring title every year, let them be a yearly belt where they win it and then they bring it to the next King of the Ring tournament, and if they lose in the first round, they have to relinquish it. If they don't, they just hold on to the belt until they get to the tippy top, and if they win it again, they just hold on to the belt. But if you lose at any point during that, you vacate it and it goes vacant, and then whoever wins the thing. Better. Crowns are dumb. They look like Burger King crowns. It's silly. It's a silly idea. I don't like the crown. It's goofy. The IC belt. There's a better IC title. This is the IC belt, right? Yes, the Intercontinental title, the black and gold title. Very beautiful title. Not the best, but definitely good. These are the World Tag Team Championships. I think these are the ones that the Hart Foundation carried, or it might be the 90s one. Again, I can't super tell, but they're great. I like them. This is kind of the vein that the new WWE tag team titles are in. This one has a bit more color. I kind of wish they had taken some of the color from this version and added it to the new tag team belts, but this, beautiful. Another, I feel like I need to lift the monitor to my face and it's my old eyes, but also these pictures are tiny. This is the Cruiserweight Championship. I like the shape of this belt. It's aesthetically pleasing. Black and gold like they normally do. Cruiserweight title is an unfortunate casualty of VKM's disdain for smaller dudes. And by small, I mean like regular sized human people. If you ever see it, just a quote unquote cruiserweight, in WWE. They're enormous. They're still huge people. So it's just goofy. This title is good. I like it at B. Divas title, trash. Not D, trash. The Divas title was terrible. Not only for what it stood for, which was like 1 minute matches for the women. Competitions. Like that time, that era wasn't the best for women. And that, barring, some good stuff here and there. The Bella Twins, I believe, were Diva champions for a while. But just that whole Divas era where they kind of removed them from the wrestling portion. This belt kind of signifies a lot of that. And I was thinking, put it at D. It's not the worst looking belt. But just that era of women's wrestling wasn't ideal. And I feel like this encompasses a lot of that, where it's just like reality show star type things. We'll leave it at F. Do we even have to talk about this? It's the greatest title ever. The white IC title is the greatest title ever. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. Debate me in the comment. I don't care. It's an incredible title. Somebody tell me I'm wrong. I'm not wrong. I'm not. The most recent IC title is fine. It's just fine. And there's a little bit of bias because I do love the white IC title, but also, I don't know, there's something about it that just feels really squished. Like that oval in the center, that whole lockup in the middle, just it's not working for me. I like the wide plates, Do you like, let me know in the comments, do you like circular plates, or do you like the big like brick like wide plates? I feel like it gives the wrestler a wider midsection. It makes them look bigger and more imposing versus like a very thin belt, which kind of looks it's slimming almost. It's like this new IC title almost feels like it's higher versus wider. I'd rather it be wide, as you see from the tag title. The women's title, the one that they got rid of for the Divas Championship, was that's Ivy's title. That's Molly's title. That's Jacqueline's title. China, you name it. Incredible athletes, incredible women's division held that title, and many women before that. It's a shame they got rid of it. I dig it. It's a good B title, The NXT Championship. I'm looking at the list now, and I like this NXT Championship. I do. One of the things I do like about the NXT Championships in general, they had whoever designed those, whatever crew, they had a lot of fun. They made a lot of very big, imposing titles for the NXT champions, and I appreciate that. I'm going to put this one at B because there's one that I feel is better. This big green belt I had to look up because I was like, is this a joke? Did someone put a fake belt? This is the greatest Royal Rumble championship title that Braun Strowman won in Saudi Arabia. He never defended it. I think he just has it. It's oddly good looking. Like I said, they have a terrible track record with green titles. It's not bad. Go Google it. Go Google a picture of this big green greatest Royal Rumble title. It's not bad. It's not bad. It's not bad. I'm saying that. I'm not going to say it's great or good. It's good. It's good. I like it. I like the belt. It's good. I think this is the NXT UK Championship. The NXT UK Championships, there's another one down the road, are some of the better titles. I would say it's S tier. The UK Championships are another unfortunate casualty of Mr. McMahon, where he got rid of NXT UK, merged NXT into one entity, but in doing so, we lost those incredible UK titles. I remember seeing them and saying, just make that the NXT Championship. Incredible titles. The heraldry on it, the splash of color in the middle, the fact that the color does not represent Raw or anything, it's just part of the title. The lions on it, like they have it's so ornate and distinct, right? Like one of the things I had, issue I had with the World Tag Team titles is that from a distance, it's hard to tell what the gold is. There's no real reliefs in there to help you understand what is what. You have to get kind of close to see that it's actually stuff. I equated it to crumpled up aluminum foil. That belt, the NXT UK title, or their titles, they don't have that problem. I can't see these pictures very well. I can still see the lion in that picture. It's perfect. Those belts are perfect. The original World Heavyweight title, I believe this was the WCW belt. This is the Triple H belt. That's what I call it. That's the one I remember Triple H carrying. It was annoyingly big. Like, I like the wide title. This one was tall and wide. On his Triple H's wide frame already, he always looked like he had no midsection when he wore it, because it would go from like his pecs to his gear. So it's just like his whole midsection would disappear. I didn't like it all that much. It was okay. It's another one where from a distance, you can't tell what's on the belt. You can't tell what the words say. You can't tell what the image or the reliefs are in the gold. So it just looked like a big gold plate, which is fine. But when there's carvings in it, you want to see what it is. But when the champions are in motion or whatever, they're swinging the belt around, you can't tell anything on that title. So for me, that's a fail on that title, which the new world titles kind of solve, but they solve it in, I think, not the best way, where they kind of slap the WWE logo on there, and that's the most prominent thing on it that you can tell. And then again, everything around it is kind of just a mishmash in your eyes. The Zack Ryder title, I think it was the Internet Championship, I'm going to put at B. I was going to put it higher because that I believe Zack Ryder made himself that belt, called himself the Internet Champ, got himself over, got on TV, and then proceeded to, have a good run with the company until Kane pushed him off of the ramp in a wheelchair. But that was the start of his ascendance. He made his own title. He rose to new heights. And it's not a bad looking title. It's goofy, but there are worse goofy belts. And I'll put it on the same line as The Rock's Brahma Bull. Why not? The Fiend belt is absolute trash. It's trash for a number of reasons. Not because it looks bad, which it does, in the grand scheme of professional wrestling titles. The Fiend as a character didn't seem to care about titles, or wouldn't care about titles, right? The Fiend was a character that was more interested in hurting people or chaos or whatnot. So once he started chasing titles, I was like, well, now it's superficial. Before it was revenge or some sort of grievance he had with, and this is all in kayfabe. This is all, storyline stuff. But The Fiend was all about inflicting pain and suffering based on Bray Wyatt's own personal pain and suffering. It was his demon that he would let out to kind of get revenge on people. And the moment he started chasing titles, it kind of made the character less than, took away from a lot of the mythos of the character. And then once they made the belt out of his face, I was completely done with that. I was like, no, why in kayfabe, why would he want the title to look like him? Why would he want the title at all? Bray Wyatt was very good at his character. So what he did was he put the belt on his face so that it would look like the belt would cover his face a little bit, so it looked like just the Fiend's head as he walked to the ring. You make, chicken salad out of chicken crap, but the belt didn't look good, and it was only around for a couple of months, I believe, and then it went away. And not great. This NXT title doesn't fit the bill. Just feels a little cheap. I think what is it? Tag team title? Yeah. It's not great. I love the hardcore title. Mick Foley's title, right? Steve Blackman's title. Al Snow's title. Crash Holly's title. The reason the 24/7 championship even exists is because Crash Holly paved the way with the 24/7 rule on the hardcore championship belt. Incredible. For the longest while, there was, I don't know if it's a rumor or if it's true, that the hardcore title was one of the original Winged Eagle titles, smashed up. You can see kind of right here, they kind of look, if not similar. We're just going to put that in S tier. They look similar, but it could be that, right? I think Mick Foley said it wasn't. I don't believe it. I think it is. They took a hammer to one of the old Winged Eagle belts and just duct taped it back together and wrote hardcore on it. It's a great belt. It's an incredible title. You know exactly what it's for. You're going to get all messed up. It fits the bill for the vertical it's in. Great branding. Love it. The United States Championship is another one that looks a lot like a toy. I never liked it. I never liked any of the U.S. title belts. They never look good. Specifically now, I don't feel like the U.S. title has the same level of panache that the other titles have. And now that the tag team titles have gotten a refresh and the world title is refreshed, and Cody Rhodes might be getting a new title, hopefully. Maybe he'll get a new winged title. Could happen. A white winged title? Who knows? It's time to revisit the U.S. Championship. And I think they need to get the flag out of there. Something about it, just the flag doesn't work the way they've incorporated it into the belt. Well, maybe it has. I think a lot of people do like the title. There's something about it. It just seems too it feels like someone ordered a belt that they were like a 4th of July version of a title. I don't know. It doesn't hit for me. It's going in D tier. It's not terrible, but it's not, the worst thing ever. This is another world championship, I think. I don't know this title, but it looks okay. I'm going to put it in B tier because I don't know it and because it kind of reminds me of this title, but it's not on the same level. Yeah. We talked about it. It's now the silver coin title, these tag titles that they just got rid of, thankfully. Raw and SmackDown have very distinct, rich palettes. Raw being very, silvery, red, rich red, blacks. It's very in your face. And then SmackDown is very specific, cool blue, It's very vibrant, right? The tag titles did not signify anything like that. The blue and the red for the leather was very muted. And when you look at something like the women's title here, that red, or even the Universal Championship title, that red could have been used for that Raw Tag Team Championship, but they didn't use it. It's very drab, very desaturated, very muted colors. And then you have the silver plates on it that, like I said, signify second place. There's no gold on the title. It's just like, man, what are you doing with these tag titles? And to be fair, I think that's how Vince saw it. So it kind of makes sense. They were like second tier, not second tier, but like second place titles. Like they had to pair up to do this match. I listened to Wrestling with Friends with Freddie Prinze Jr. and his buddy, forget his name, the comedian. I'll remember it as I'm talking. But Freddie said that Vince didn't like tag team wrestling because he didn't want to, quote unquote, pay two guys instead of one. So you have to pay a tag team to wrestle versus just one guy. It's like, I don't want to pay, two guys for one match kind of thing. That kind of tells you everything you need to know about the tag division for quite a while. The Usos did great unifying the titles, carrying them, bringing them to new heights, and now they've split the titles back up. Now we have better versions walking around on Raw and SmackDown. I can't wait to see those belts defended against the Street Profits tomorrow on SmackDown. The Street Profits are going to lose, but hopefully it sets them up to do something. I don't know what else. Maybe they're going to split the Street Profits up if they lose. The same way they're kind of splitting up DIY like we talked about on Monday. We'll see. The Universal Championship in blue is actually somehow better than the red one. It's not as rich, but I think it played, the gold and the blue played off each other a little better than the red and the gold. The Universal Championship in red always just felt like licorice to me. It felt like not a consolation prize, but it just didn't feel right. This NXT Championship, I really like. Something about it is almost utilitarian. It's straight, this giant X, and then everything else is just very straight. It's like a very boxy, long, very large title. You get it. When you see the title, you're like, okay, that's a championship title. This giant X on there is very eye-catching. The gold, the black, it really signified kind of the era of, the NXT and the black and gold. I really like it. Go look online of that NXT title. It's not bad looking. It's pretty good. I dig it. We've crapped on the tag titles quite a bit. It's going to sit there with the Raw and SmackDown counterparts right next to each other. This NXT title, I don't know what it is, but it looks a lot like this one. And for that reason, it's staying right next to that. This NXT title, let's put it here. Why not? I don't know too much about that NXT title. I don't know. I think this is another UK title. I don't think I've seen this one either, but I like it. So it's going to stay. We have a lot of B tiers in here. Actually, now that we've seen B tier, let's move some things around. I think this can move to C. This stays at B. These can stay. The IC title, I'll... Up or down, y'all? I mean, it's not live, but up or down? Let's say it remains. We're going to move Zach down. Zach is okay. It's just okay. This goes up here in S tier. You can't tell me that these two titles next to each other, aren't incredible professional wrestling titles. That those two on a shelf or hung up on a wall, it's eye-catching. It's good. This NXT title is not as good as this one, and because of that, it remains at C. I have no idea what this is. This looks like a piece of scrap metal someone carved some hieroglyphics into, and because of that, it's going in S tier. No, you gonna put this here? I don't know what that is. We're getting close to the end, y'all. Let's power through. Another big silver title. I'm gonna keep that at B tier. I think this is a tag team championship. Yes, it is. It's gonna go here and C. Yeah. This feels like the Divas title, which doesn't bode well for that NXT. Yeah, it's the women's title, and it does have that Diva Championship-esque vibe, but I don't think they were treated like the Divas, so we're not going to hit it in F. All right, the 24/7 Championship. The fact that they had Nikki Cross dump that title in the garbage, and then she missed, and it just fell on the floor, and then it was never seen again, tells you everything you need to know about the 24/7 Championship. R-Truth did the most to make that thing entertaining. He'd never make it credible because they didn't want it to be. They had people chasing people for it. It was ridiculous. It was a comedy angle. But because R-Truth is a damn national treasure, he became like the 44-time 24/7 champion. And because of him, that title made sense for the short period of time that it did. Thankfully, they got rid of it. And this is another instance of WWE trying to make a green title work, and it just kind of not working the way it should. And there's something about those really thin like straps around, like this big circular thing and then this really thin straps. Look at the 24/7 Championship and then look at the new World Tag Team Championships and tell me they don't feel kind of similar from the shape. I'm just saying. 24/7 Championship was trash. It was a terrible idea. And the fact that they dragged Mick Foley into it to debut it, it's just not fair to that guy. He held the Hardcore Championship, for Christ's sake. And European Championship was pretty good. It was a pretty good title. Go back and watch William Regal defend that title. It's pretty good. The Women's Championship in all white. Like I said, the Women's Championships, as of late, doing good work. Doing good work over there. Here's another title I've never seen before. And honestly, it looks kind of slick. So we're going to slap that bad boy in B. B is taking over. Let's move some stuff around. I don't know that one. And Rock, you're moving down too with Zack Ryder. I really didn't like the Brahma Bull thing. Another women's championship in all white. They were hitting back in the day. Like I said, I like the big plates. The big plates make sense. And last but not least, the John Cena specific US title. John Cena had terrible aesthetics for titles. Terrible. He messed up the he didn't do anything. Let me not blame John Cena. His gimmick messed up the world title and the US title, and it's not fair. But thankfully, both of those have gone the way of the dodo, and they're gone. And there you have it, guys. This is our impromptu tier list of WWE championships. Some we knew, Many we didn't. We made do with what we had. And I think our S tier is, I don't think you can argue with our S tier. It's pretty good. Actually, get up there. Yeah, I think our S tier is pretty good. I'm not moving anything else. Everything else is set in stone. It's set. It's set. Okay? All right. Our S tier is set. That does it for today. What'd you think of our ranking? Let me know in the comments if you would have moved specific belts to different tiers. What is your favorite WWE Championship belt? Let me know in the comments. Thank you so much for watching and listening. And don't you ever forget.
I'm your friend, but if I ever see you in the ring, I can beat you. Don't you know? Yeah, yeah, yeah!